Alright, so welcome into my Sawstop Job Site Pro saw. I've had this saw for 2-3 years now, and it's a great little saw. But a problem I've noticed with it is as you're pushing material across the throat plate, there's this little bit of flex in the back, which can pivot your workpiece just enough to cause a little burning as you're moving it through, or bring your piece a little bit out of square. So recently I had been watching the Today's Craftsman channel on YouTube, John Peters' side hustle, and they used in their cabinet Sawstop a zero clearance insert that was an aftermarket insert by a company called Colliflower. And after I watched the video, I went to their website and saw they had one for this exact saw and decided to pick it up and give it a try. So that's what I did. This is the Colliflower aftermarket version of the throat plate for the job site. It feels great. First things I noticed, it's heavy, very rigid material. It's made out of, the website says it's called micarta, which is some mix of linen, canvas, paper, fiberglass, or other materials. So feels real good. I was very happy with this part of it, and as you can see, it has a slot where you can slide in replaceable inserts. The first thing I noticed about it, though, is it wouldn't clip into the front part here. So I looked at the existing plate, and it has this little, ridged screw. And it turned out I actually needed to take one of those off of my off the stock plate and move it over to the new Colliflower one in order to get it to latch in properly. So no big deal there, but that took a little bit for me to figure out, and maybe that'll help somebody. I also, I had to back all these set screws on the back all the way out, and even so, it's still like just barely flush in the back. So the tolerances are very tight there. If my saw was any less thick in the back, it wouldn't work. So these set screws are backed all the way out in order to get this flush. So that's kind of tight, but it worked out for me. So this I'm all happy with. I went around tweaking the front set screws and getting everything so that it's nice and flush with the top, and that worked great. Now this comes with two of these PETG 3D printed replaceable inserts. They have this little dovetail lip around the side so they can slide in and be held in place. And you can, buy as many as you want. So you could have full curve, thin curve. You could have saws at angles, put dado blades in here, and have a zero clearance insert for each. This piece I'm much less happy with, so let me slide it in. It came with two of these, although in classic me fashion I already have lost one and cannot find the other, but I'm sure it'll turn up. So the first thing I noticed with this, as you do with most zero clearance inserts, you remove the riving knife, turn on the saw, and raise it up. And then I put the riving knife back on, and the second time I tried to rise it up, this happened. So you see, because there's this little bit of play in this 3D printed top, it doesn't come up exactly where it did the last time. It doesn't come up in the same spot every time. So, and because this piece is so flexible, because I've cut through so far, it can bend and pop this little dovetail piece completely out. So that's very frustrating. I mean, you have to always have the saw off to raise the blade, and either hold it down or wiggle it to make sure it comes through. And I was having so much problems with that. This is actually a thin curve blade on here. I put a full kerf in and raised that all the way up through just to widen it up a little bit. So it's not even really a zero clearance insert at the moment. So I don't know if this is a bad batch of these plates or if this is just how they are. I would give them the benefit of the doubt. Also, since it's just 3D printed, I also wonder if somebody competent Fusion 360 could make another one that maybe is has tighter tolerances that might fit this saw better. But that's been a minor frustration. So I've been using it for about a week now, and it clearly is more rigid. It feels better running pieces across than the old one did. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it, but I did have a minor customer service experience with them that I will recount. Let me just pull up my notes here. So this plate cost $109.99, so they're definitely not giving it away. And it was $127 with shipping. Now I ordered this on February 26th, and it took 2 weeks for it to ship, a little over, on March 14th. After then, I waited another 2+ weeks, and I had noticed the shipping notification did not include tracking information. It had like tracking, and it said USPS, but there was no link or no number for me to use. So I thought that was a little odd, and after 2 weeks further, on April 1st, I still hadn't gotten it, so I contacted Colliflower support. They responded right away the next day and said they'd look into it, although 3 days later I still had not heard back from them. So I nudged again on April 5th. They had said, the person remembered my name and said they were sure they'd sent it out and I should just give it a little bit more time. They couldn't find the tracking number, which they thought was odd, but asked me to give it a little more time. I said that's fine. It arrived on April 6th, but the postman had to ring the doorbell and asked me for $18.40 and said since he was in the field he didn't have change, it needed to be exactly $18.40. Otherwise he couldn't remit the package to me, which of course I didn't have exact change for that on me. So he had to take the package back to the post office, and then 2 days later on Monday when the post office was open, I biked over there. He was able to use a credit card to pay the $18.40 and finally get the package on April 8th. But to their credit, I explained all this to the support person. I confirmed I did pay already 17 something for shipping, so I was a little frustrated that I double charged for shipping. But again, to their credit, they refunded me immediately, and that kind of seemed to clear up why there was no tracking number, and so just must have been an issue in shipping it out. Hopefully that was just a one-time thing though. So overall I'm happy with it. Again, this plate I'm hoping can be made better, and at that price it's really hit or miss whether or not it would work for you. This saw is meant to be used like on job sites, and I just have it in my basement. This is my main table saw, so I don't roll it around much, but I mean it clips in well, it's flush, so and they make it water resistant and all those other benefits that I don't really need, but might be more useful to somebody working out on job sites. So the price is high, and overall I'm fairly happy with it. I don't know if I would do it again, but a lot of that depends on how good future iterations of these inserts are. So that's kind of what I've experienced so far in the week I've had this. Again, if anybody gets this, hopefully this might help them, or if they're considering a Colliflower aftermarket zero clearance saw insert, maybe this will provide some useful information to you. Thanks so much for checking this out.